So let's get started. I'll be taking a look at a couple pieces today, and I have some announcements for you guys. As you know, because I've been just announcing it every session, there is a portrait studio sale coming up October 1st, Sunday at midnight. It will start Sunday at midnight. I'm going to stay up and I'm going to set the sale prices on. So for anyone who wants to wait for that, you also have for those who are waiting for a payment cycle or something like that. That's what I went through last year. I had to wait for some people's payment cycle, so I extended the sale in October last year, but this is the exact same clone of the sale, and this time I don't think I'll be able to extend it any further than the 14th, so keep an eye out for this sale. If you need to, make the purchase later and within the 14 days, you have more than enough time to do that. But if for some reason you're anticipating, you want to take advantage of this sale, but you can't, and because I talked to Abu about it, if you really can't and the payment cycle is over, or I don't know, for some reason some people can't, it's not always because of financial constraints, I will try to provide some promo codes for stragglers after the 14th. But the only way for you to take advantage of that is to message me on Facebook. So to get to Facebook, go to istebrak.com and go to the homepage. And click on the Facebook icon here. You can send me a private message through the page. But I'm just going to be providing 3 or 4 stragglers tops. I won't be, because I looked at last year's stragglers and there were quite a few. There were possibly 10 people who came in who needed Portrait Studio way after the sale was done. So I only just recently looked at those, and I really want to remind you guys that it's only going to be 14 days, and I'm not going to have a lot of promo codes for those who delay. But 14 days is a lot of time. I hope it's enough time for all of you. I'll be using Portrait Studio today to kind of just finalize why it's so useful and why everybody should have it. And getting it supports the channel back. If you don't want to be a patron, if you don't have enough to be a patron on a monthly regular subscription, getting Portrait Studio is one way to support us, and you get back a wonderful referencing engine that will improve your art indefinitely. So I think that's a pretty good exchange. It's the price of, it's half the price, so it's around $70 right now. It'll be around $45 within the sale. It might be a little bit lower depending on what I can do. We have 2 challenges running. They're both going to be due around Halloween. One of them is the Creepy Creature Challenge. Please start posting your work now. You only have a month to do a complete render of a character, of a creature, its scales, its fur, its detail, its little details here and there, the environment, the ripples on the water, the eerie moon in the distance. You have only a month to render a complete illustration, and as for every illustration and challenge, I expect mood boards, I expect thumbnails, I expect silhouette gesture studies for the character and the demon or the creature that you're drawing. It can be mystical, it can be a magical creature, it can glow in the dark, it can be see-through, it can be a jellyfish, it can be underwater, it can be above water, it can be in the sky, it can be in a volcano, it can be in a tornado, it can be anywhere, but it just has to be a creepy creature themed Halloween integration environment challenge submission theme thing, and I cannot wait. I'm really looking forward to these. I don't think we did one last year. I think we did. I don't know if we kept doing them, but I know I haven't seen them in a while. I think last year we did hand sketches. We didn't illustrate them, but I really want to see you guys join. I think this is applicable to all levels of art. It's not a really intensive character design, but there is a character design theme running alongside it. So 2 parallel challenges running in the community right now. There won't be another one for a while. So for those who really needed this for their portfolios or just to keep themselves on their feet, these are the only 2 challenges we'll have for a while. You guys waited around 6 months for a challenge to start, and here it is. So the other one is the character integration, character environment integration challenge. Please read through this so that you can get a better understanding of it. A character and a company with the character are traversing across an environment that is high altitude, that is an environment either with cliffs or is a mountainside environment or is a plateaus or something like that, where they need a pole vaulting or a pole or some interaction with a jumping, what is the word for thing, jumping something that looks very similar to pole vaulting in the pose and and the act, and then the way they lunge, and the frames beforehand, the frames after landing, just to get to a higher cliff. It can be them hunting with the pole vaulting kind of activity. It can be, anything. It can be, I don't know, it could be a magical cloud environment that has a bit of mountain here and there, and they're jumping across it. And there's a beautiful sunset in the distance, and they're all jumping towards the distance. But as long as you've managed to represent the character in the environment, and the character, it's not a character design. Please read through the brief. Thank you for those who have already started. I really appreciate you guys putting in the effort. The more that you guys put in, the more that you get out of the sessions. I also recently uploaded a video how I draw my sketches, and in the video I have a complete process of how I've used Portrait Studio to sketch one of my sketches here, this little Vegeta Tarzana girl. And for anyone interested in how I, work on my gestures and how I get these sketches out, I've been working on this video for a long time now. Never really got my head around how to finish it, but I finally found some time. And I haven't really released the process for any of these girls since I did it last March, I think, is when I actually sketched these. And everyone's been asking about how I do this and how I do gestures, so I pretty much talk about all the aspects of the development, all the layers of concept art that go into, all the concept layers that go into making one of these sketches. So for anyone interested, you guys can catch that on my videos. No more announcements, I promise. Let's get started. Okay. Oh yeah, and Patreon. If you guys feel like, giving me some more money, you can go on Patreon. Okay, let's get started. So one of the biggest problems with this girl is that I don't understand why her jawline is so massive. So I'm going to just do this and show you where your issues are. So one of the things that I think the before and after will work enough as the delayed, seeing actually where you were before. But some of the things I want to do is just shrink her head or cover her head up with a block so that you guys can look at the before and see how small large the head is. I can't tell if this artist is going for a chibi face or is not going for those big-headed kind of cartoony looking characters. If you're going for a chibi, the most essential fundamental behind making cute short elf characters is that their faces, no matter what age they are always going to be childlike. Even if they're old, they still have cutesy faces. So her dislocated jaw, meaning that her mouth is a little bit not representing symmetry. It's kind of completely thrown off. Her laugh lines or her laugh wrinkles, adding that age. Her really large jawline, her angry eyebrow. She doesn't look witty. She looks angry and evil. This is the expression. So for this artist here, you have to get on an expression challenge. You have to do finish a front view 14-day challenge, and then choose the last of your 14-day challenge as the graduate piece, and then copy paste that as many times as you need horizontally on a canvas, and then label each face across the spectrum of emotions and adjust each face for its chosen emotion, and then submit it on the community, and people will tell you, okay, angry looks a little bit constipated, happy looks a little bit evil. You have to try to get a good idea, a solid representation of each clean emotion without any gray areas. Then you can do a gray area. So sometimes bored can look like angry. Sometimes happy can look like angry. So for me at least. You have to try this kind of stuff. You have to try to pinpoint your expression language to where your issues are stemming from and whether or not you're reading your reference properly, because she looks extremely off. Something about her is off. So I put the mouth back together, and I'm going to close the distance between the mouth and the nose. If she's going to be a chibi version, which I think you did go for, because anyone could tell that the head was too big. If you couldn't tell the head was too big, you have a major problem with proportions here. But I think you could. And I'm going to just fix this almost masculine, almost Arnold Schwarzenegger head silhouette. And last session, I laughed a little bit on the before. And I knew what I was doing while I was laughing. I knew the kind of repercussion it would lead to. But, my God. It's like there are these trolls waiting for me to like laugh or giggle, and like I'm not allowed to, and then just pouncing in. So they've been watching my videos. They watch them on the regular. They're benefiting from them. And then I make one video where I have, you know, just a little bit of fun, and they just go for it. What I love is that none of them really could do anything about it. This is all my viewers who understand me, who know me as a person, who understand that I don't laugh out of malicious intent to mock anyone or anything. They kind of just stood up for me. So I really appreciated it, and I want to thank all of you guys who understood what I was on about that day and how I really didn't intend to laugh. I never laugh. I've never laughed at a before and after before that day, but it's not the before that I was laughing at. Not that I need to clear up my not that I need to clear anything up, but I was laughing at the added story on top of the before, which was the character reacting to something happening to them. Just go watch the video if you don't know what I'm saying. So any 3/4 view. Anyway, yeah, all those people, all those haters, haters gonna hate, and you guys don't faze me, and I'm above you, and the fact that I have haters means that I'm the shit, and everything that implies. Nah, not really. I just want to piss them off some more. So every 3/4 view has C shapes that reveal the dome of the cylinder of anything that is cylindrical or spherical. So a 3/4 view sphere, there's no such thing as a 3/4 view sphere, like a ball in 3/4 view, because it's always in 3/4 view, front view, side view, has just one side. It's a beautiful thing. But cylinder is for the lips, and the cylinders of the lips, when they're in 3/4 view, you can see the belly, like the little Santa belly of the cylinder. And so right here on the mouth is what you were missing. Next thing is that she wasn't really looking at anybody. She wasn't really looking at me. And if she was this really witty, like, oh my lord, are you gonna beat me, Mr. Highwayman? Yeah, you can try. And then she whips out her, I don't know, I'm not gonna say it. So she's kind of looking like she can kick ass, so that's why I kept some of the eyebrows there, all angry looking. But I kind of just raise the arc up a little bit to show that she's up to something. She looks like a good person. She doesn't look evil, but I do have to make some adjustments, some more adjustments to make sure she doesn't look completely evil. So that C shape is also in the eyes. It's also in the eyebrows. But yeah, as like one of the comments said, if you're a pansy who can't take any criticism for your art, I really don't think you belong in this community. I think you should find a more style-enabling community, a community that is based off niches, very closed, not open to criticism or growth, community that kind of tries to tell you who to be and what you want to be. None of that happens here. All that happens is the pure, beautiful, honest truth. And that is my policy. Always tell the truth, be honest. And that's what I do when I teach, and I'm happy that that is not lost on some of you, because I think it's really shown a maturity in my audience, and I'm very proud that my audience can be this mature and understand the value of critiques. I didn't think I had that many active fans on my channel. I assumed a lot of you just subscribed and kind of ditched, but I'm really very happy that you guys are here and defending me whenever I giggle, which was going to happen. It's going to happen. It was my own fault. A little bit of a cat shadow there. And then remember that evil that I talked about? Well, that needs to go, because these shadows that surround the eyes perpetuate this feeling like there's something hidden, something deceptive about the character. And you kind of just overdid it. If you are referencing someone who has really, really strong jowls and shadows around their face and wrinkles, even though they're 20, then you as the artist are not expected to duplicate their face exactly unless it's photorealism. If you're doing a caricature version of them who's an elf who has a bow made out of a mystical tree, I don't think you're expected to honor every single wrinkle on their face. So if this was based off a face that you know, the person themselves probably doesn't want it to be duplicated. They want a more beautiful version of themselves. And it's all fantasy at the end of the day. There's no harm in making someone who you've referenced, a friend or something, more beautiful in your version. There are other ways to capture their likeness outside of excessive wrinkling or low eyebrows. Unless you're doing a caricature is different. So I'm just cleaning up. And for this area, you can keep this, but keep it with a large brush. You can create this laugh bump with a large brush and smudge away that wrinkle because it's just done one thing, which is age her. You've just added age. And the cast shadow of the nose right there is casting another sharp shadow there. The shadow of her nose will blanket on top of her inner eye in the distance. So I just want to give haters like more fuel. I really want to see them pop their little oily heads out. I don't know what else I could say. The light is coming from the top right in this flip, so that means the side of the nose is illuminated, so you really wouldn't have that much of a sharp edge. And you want to know what kind of nose you just drew? You drew this nose. Everybody laughs when I draw this. No. Okay, this is the nose you learned when you were in kindergarten. Alright, when they taught us a picture of the nose, they had this. This was for eyes. And in kindergarten, basically all your kindergarten teachers failed you because they taught you that an eye is this. The thing is, we teach children simple words and simple pictures with simple words because they don't have the mental faculty to understand. But the thing is, kids remember this shit, and then once they decide to be an artist one day and join a community and try to draw an eye, they're going to get ripped apart because all they remember is this really, really elementary representation of an eye. But this, this is not a functional eye. You can't use this. And then they move on to anime and layer a bunch of other misguiding styles on top, and then they end up where they end up. And so I'm right there telling you that a cube from light top down is not going to have shadow on this side. You will still put a shadow on the side of the nose because that's this shadow, the leftovers of lines that you had. That's why bad things happen to good cubes, because of your symbols. Alright? Another thing is that the whites of her eyes are so bloodshot. That's why she looked evil. Remember, evil is just anything you do around the eyes or on the eyes or under the eyes, any excessive shadow, that's evilness. Because you are, again, hiding, mystifying, adding some kind of unattainable detail. The person is hard to read. The personality is gone because it's in the eyes. They look sickly. They look like they've been consumed by demons or something. I've talked about before what qualifies as an evil eye, and it's just anything that happens around the eyes excessively in shadow is what causes that. So a little bit of light under her eyebrows, a nice hooded little bump there, does wonders for just waking her eye up. Okay, so we still have an issue with the jawline. This is stuff I have to do zoomed out. So I'm just going to tuck the jawline away because you've oversized the head. So I'm just tucking it away. And I'm going to enlarge the head. This is the style they're going for. These are changes I'm making because of who this character is and the way they've been sketched. So I'm enlarging the head as they intended. By shaving away at the jaw and the cheekbone, I've shrunken the head, so I'm resizing it so it's in the same position. She's a bit of a hefty girl, so what you can do is show that on her face. You can't give her a super slim face, so you gotta just expand her cheeks a bit. Our faces also gain weight when we are a bit bigger. You guys should have seen me when I was big. Yes, I used to be big. Not big, like it wouldn't be big, but I wouldn't call it that, but I was a bit chunky. This is before I finally medicated my thyroid, and I was really just doing whatever I wanted with food. I really wasn't thinking right. But my face is very different now because I just look at pictures before. You store a lot more fat on your face than you think. Because she's a chibi, I fucking hate saying chibi, but it's all I have as a point of reference for you guys. I'm going to shrink her neckline. She doesn't need a neckline. Also, she's chubbier, so she doesn't really have much of a neckline. When we shrink in size, the fat deflates around, our size deflates as the fat leaves around our bodies. So we end up having more of a defined, see, I'm going to put the feather right on top of her face, defined neckline. Okay. And then I'm going to exaggerate that smile and then finally talk about the face. The body, I mean. Okay. So she's looking up. I hope you know that. The other ear wouldn't really be visible. It would be a little bit behind. Kind of would have ended somewhere before the hairline was visible. Good job on the gesture. As for the thighs, they're asymmetrical. The feet aren't planted on the ground. So I don't mean this, but I just want to see what it does in the comment section. So plant your feet, noob. God, why are you such a noob? What are some really, really good troll trigger terms I could use that I of course don't mean? Listen here, you little noob. I used to call you guys noobs a lot, but very like as an endearing term. What's up, noobs? I used to have fun doing that. I just don't know why I stopped. Not because it had any backlash, because I think you guys understood the context. But I think it's because I did it mostly on after hours. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm bringing the heel down. That's what makes it look flattened. And the little leather belts on top of the foot reveal the cylindrical shape of the foot. And so just a little bump like that, and we have a nice flat footing. As for the thighs, you have absolutely no form in the thighs. They're so flat. You have the same like value running all the way around that needs to change. So I'm just gonna radially build the cylinder. See this? How many cylinders you got going on? You really didn't read your cylinders, and a couple of form studies, trace over diagrams of a form study really will help you avoid any more cylinder blasphemy. Get good, scrub. Liberals. Listen here, you fucking liberals. I was called something once. Cuck? A cuck holder? No, not a cuck holder. Cucktard? Libtard. Libtard. Yeah, I think it was libtard. Something, I was called that once. I don't know, by a random viewer. I don't know why. Didn't really like Trump, so I won't lie to that. Cast shadow coming off the little skirt. A little bit more structure for her thighs. I'm going to flip the canvas again, questioning where the light source is this way. So there will be more shadow on this half, less on this half. Cuckold. No, cuckold, nothing. Yeah, well, she is sassy. Look at the way she's standing. I mean, she's all about that sass right now. Okay, just a bit more form and volume, a little bit of bounce light over here. Some green on her thighs from the fabric. And then a bit of edge work. Goes a long way. See that? Those edges did? She can have like, you know, chunky thighs, but she seems athletic. So you can be a bit bigger and have athleticism to your silhouette, to your pose, to your posture. What's some other really, really controversial shit I should make? Noob, well, that's the best I could come up with. That's the best I could come up with, being a shit talker. You guys think I'm a professional shit talker. Snowflakes. God, you fucking snowflakes. Oh, you shouldn't educate us because you shouldn't insult us. You should give us a cookie. And yeah. That's as much as I can do right now. going to thicken this thigh a little bit more. She needs a bit more thickness. So thighs tend to have bounce light because they're smooth and they run around with the same texture all around the thigh. So that means that we have a surface micro texture that, like hair and bumps of the pores, that works very, very similarly to like felt or something that is more matte but with a level of shine to it. I'm going to get the background value and whoop, see that? That's how you add that little bit of reflectiveness to the thigh. Get a bit of that green. Whoop-de-doop. Whoop, whoop. What does Kanye do? Swoop, whoop-de-doop. Fucking maniac. Another thing is the whole torso is one big cylinder. It's like one big rounded thing. And so anything on the sides here, you don't have like any value changes at all. So if the light, again, is coming from the light top down, then this whole half should be in shadow, right? She didn't have that, so you lost a lot of volume. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's just some radial shades, and now I'm erasing away at them. Scoop, whoop, de doop. So yeah, snowflakes, you libtards. What else can I say? They must be gasping. I can hear their little "let me see the manager haircut" gasps right now. I can hear them. Pretty much, if you guys have a problem with my teaching style or my channel, and you want to talk to the manager, I am the manager. That is me. Alright, I'm just lowering that opacity. You see that? We got some nice old bounce light going on. And a nice core shadow. We got her form back. A little bit of the same kind of thing over here. So mods, I know I'm asking everyone for some really irrelevant conversation topics. Don't fret too much. Again, going back to darken, doing the same thing around any big volume. So her boobies are a big volume. I'm darkening anything underneath in the core shadow. So we have no core shadows and no cast shadows. There is a problem here. And this artist needs to start taking their core and cast shadows seriously. Okay, because you had a lot of opportunities to really make this work in volume, in favor of volume, but you kind of just missed out. Because she's reflective, I'm going to try to track down the light and just make it travel across her armor wherever we do have light. And suddenly things will just go and pop right out. Pop. See that? That popped. And then again over here. A little bit of a pop there. You might want to redo your fabric because you're pretty much just putting light, dark pattern. It doesn't actually look like folds. The reason being is that you're not casting shadows off folds on other folds. That's it. That's all it is. So this cast shadow here, this fold doesn't really, you need to do fabric studies. If you were my student, I'd be just straight into cylinders, form studies, complicated organic shapes. See, no core shadow on the fold. I don't know why you guys think that the smaller the object, the less susceptible it is to physics. But that's not how it works. It's just as susceptible. In fact, the more respect you have for small objects and how susceptible they are to cast shadows, core shadows, the better your work will look. Because everything will start to look like it's actually part of the same universe. And the rules of physics apply to anything, no matter shape or size. It's hard to decipher what you've done here with your lines, but I will do my best. Because these noobs, they just throw me all these hard balls, and it's just like, yo, I can only do so much. I'm only so human. Like, I know I'm amazing, and I have all this skill. I know what I am. I know I'm a god. A goddess, actually. I think I've given them enough feed for their trolling. The thing is, they weren't even trolling me. They were just straight up honest. I actually think I have malicious intent behind my critiques. It's weird. A problem with your fabric is that the silhouette on the sides isn't actually like folds. It's just a slight little ribbing, which isn't making much sense. So a little bit of that goes a long way to give us some more of that fabric-esque read. As for this part of the cape, which is all in light, unless she's Galadriel and has a sparkly cape, Galadriel doesn't even have a sparkly cape, I don't know what I'm saying. It should just be in the light. If it's in the dark half of the painting, which it is, look at the nose. Go to the nose. When in doubt, look at the nose to tell where the light source is coming from. Write that back to me. Why is the nose such a good indicator for light direction? Can anyone answer? So this critique is taking a bit longer than expected. So, oops, crud. Select inverse and then darken. Come on, you libtard snowflakes. You noobs. See this? How nice it is when you just respect the light source. Everything is nice and solid. Everything. And I'm just going to throw over a background ballet on top just to show that, hey, okay, listen, viewer. I know you're all good and you like my drawing, but I want you to focus back on the focal point. So I'm going to just sort of gray out everything towards the bottom. I know this is a standing character design and all that, great, but please focus on the light source direction. I'm also going to give a big cylindrical core light here on the front, the shins. See this? The shin of the boot actually gave the boot some volume. It all goes back to the cube, you guys. But in this case, because she's so curvy, the cube isn't so visible. It's the cylinder that we're moving toward. And then finally, I'm going to radially descend the far part of her face in that blanket of hair into some shadow. There's not much bounce light coming through right now. I'm going to grab just a normal layer mode, grab some of that green and put it on the sides of the boots. Really undetectable little addition, but what it's done is that it's made everything feel like you have this like ambient bounce of the green that has just completely enveloped her, which it has. Then we go back to here and just try to find more of those core lights. As much as you have core shadows, you have core lights. Because the nose is a weird cylinder-shaped pyramid. Because it looks like one of those old things they used to tell me all the time with the shadow that I forget the name of. When in dark, look at the nose to see the light source direction. I thought you made a pun. When in dark. I'm sorry, did I say when in dark? I probably did. When in doubt, look to the nose for light source. It's the highest point of the face and it casts a shadow. Thank you, Annie. Perfect. Another problem here is that you don't really have any core shadows for the braid. Core shadow also is applicable for small objects, as I've said before. So the braid here, wherever it just starts tucking in, give it a quick little core shadow. Do you see what I mean when I say, if you have issues with core shadows, don't be sad, because even the professionals, even artists who can complete a full illustration like this, have consistent issues with their core shadows. It is a very difficult thing to wrap your head around. And then I get my dodge tool and bring in that light shine for every little braid, yes. See that? And now the braid looks so three-dimensional. Why? Core shadows. This one here is flat, needs some more volume. And wherever the braid kind of starts tucking in, we radially apply some shadow. I just used the armor color here. I don't really go out and get a new color. I'm staying pretty local. And a lot of people, like I posted my recent video, and a lot of people like the format there. But I'm just wondering how an 18-minute video is a better format than the constant ways fundamentals reveal themselves in student art. format of my critique hours is more educational than a 14-minute run through about, and a very topical run through compared to what I'm doing here. I'm talking about every single little braid. So I feel like this format, if you disagree, that's okay. You can voice your opinion, but I feel like this format here is more educational and more beneficial for you guys. Bringing in some of that green. And then see this? Another missing cylinder. More and more and more of them. Big light right there. Missing cylindrical shine on the arm of the armor, on that gauntlet, if that's what you can call it. I don't know, arm guards. And I'm just going to desaturate wherever Dodge tool did its thing. And then finally, I'm just going to touch up the light environment. It's a little bit too tricky here. Because your character right now is a little bit overexposed. So I'm going to drop the values, drop these, decrease the saturation. And I think that's a bit more of a mature representation of your values than where you had it before. If you want to keep that same washy look, you can go ahead. But I feel like this is a little bit more safe. She is, after all, wearing Xena armor. I'm not sure about making her glowing and magical. She should have more, if she's wearing armor but she's a goddess, or if she's a mystical creature, you should be trying to show that her armor isn't really in use. It's just for decoration. But this is active armor, so I feel like a more mature light environment like this would actually be better. And then I'm going to select inverse. And you can white in the background if you feel like it'll benefit you. You can actually go all the way white. I'm just going to go a little bit. So we'll look at the before and after. Oops, before that I saw something. The base of the cylinder for the thighs is not tucking in under the boot. There we go. Her far ear actually might show, but not in the way you drew it. Just depends on how far it's winged out. Before. See how masculine she looked? After. You see what I mean by that no core shadow have an ass? I couldn't resist it. See that? Very masculine. Head wasn't big enough in the right ways. She was all busty and beautiful, but she had that Arnold Schwarzenegger face. Very angry eyebrows. Here she's a little bit more, you know, I'm pretty and I know it, but I can kick her butt. Neck really thick. Neck not short enough. Flip canvas before, after. You see the chest area? Look at the chest area. Look at the volume that we got out of that. See that volume? I did lower the levels down, so if you feel like, oh, well, you lowered the levels. It's still applicable. But I do like the levels flat. I mean, not flat. I think her bow goes off too far, but it kind of helps to show that she's kind of a tiny person. You guys want me to be rude? I can give you a good reason. Masculine, no core shadow, have an ass, Arnold Schwarzenegger looking ass. Masculine, no core shadow, Arnold Schwarzenegger looking ass. There we go. Alright, let's move on. This person right here has got a lot to do. One of the things I opened up Portia Studio for was to show you that, that you are pretty much in need of this kind of light environment right now. It's a silhouette. The light is behind the character. He's traveling forth. When it comes to big illustrations, you don't put the character first. I know you want to. I know you're going to do it anyway. I know that you are noob enough to do it anyway. But you really need to not fucking do that anymore. you have to put the illustration's light source environment first. This light environment decides what is visible, what is the time of day. I ask you, if you don't believe me, what is bigger, the character or the sun in their world? Anyone have an answer? Does anybody have an answer? All right, the sun. Yes, the sun is bigger. The sun is the bigger object. So if the sun is the bigger object, it decides whether or not this character is visible. If this character glows inside out, then it would explain why he's glowing on the part of his body that should be in shadow because the light is behind him. So just throw him in some shadow. It's not going to hurt. It's actually going to make everything look great. Every time I've done one of these, there's always been an ooh, ah in the audience because it's just what captivates people. Realistic light environments. Light source is the diva. Light source is the subject. For an artist anyway. I know that you have the character there and you're trying to tell the story. But if you want to have an accurate world, you have to put the light source first. So bear with me because I really want to make this stick. What's funny is that what happened in the last session was at the end of the session, sort of. So I don't know how they, they sat through the whole thing. So they must be fans. I really can't thank you guys enough for the views. You're so sweet. Oh my God. Thank you. All right. Enough dicking around. Select inverse. I'm just going to choose an environment color. I'm not going to go in there and darken things piece by piece because that'd be dumb. I'm going to get the environment color, which is a green. I'm going to cool it down with a blue, so it's going to be a bit more of a turquoise. So cooling things down just means sliding towards blue. You don't actually go and grab blue like a noob. You go over here and move into towards the blues. And then you just drop it. Drop it like it's. And then I'm going to use darken mode and just bring this baby down. Then I'm going to do this the opposite. I'm going to select inverse. Find the environment color light. So that's going to be this beautiful yellow light. This is something you're allowed to bring as a whole new color. The color wash doesn't have to obey, the light source doesn't have to obey the color wash of the texture environment, which is like the forest in this case. It doesn't have to obey it. It's a light source. It can do what it wants. All right. So already we're seeing a bit more of a consistency in the values here. I'm going to put it on soft light. And I'm just going to go back and forth, making things more blue, less green, more white, less yellow. Okay, and now we have really, really similar values here, and we have a more consistent light environment. Then I'll just go down and bring this down a little bit. Go into the background. I'm going to actually just merge this down with the background. This far tree would not be as dark as him because it's in the distance. I have to color correct a little bit more because he was so off. You're off, you fucking bitch. I know. Well, that was just a hater. Alright, so I'm just following this light environment here. Just thinking about where the light is sneaking in from the side there. It wouldn't be, but I'm trying to afford you some light. Okay. It's just that his size, his position, where he's standing, it's really not fit for the background at all. You're not fucking fit for the background. And then I'm just gonna... Those are the voices of my haters. In case you haven't figured it out. And I'm just gonna try to find some kind of color balance here. Trying to see which is the best one to use. Okay. Bring that down. Just constantly back and forth trying to balance this image here. Oh shit. Okay. I lost my lasso, but that's okay because things are so different from each other. It'll be fine. And then finally, after color correcting, you value correct. And so all the spaces behind him are just going to just drown in a little bit of light and that bloom of the environment. I need to frame off the base wherever he's just kind of, this would have to be his individual shadows along with the kind of framing shadows of the forest. He's tall and the base of the tree is right there. It feels like he's missing his foot and he's just walking on his shins. So where you've put the grass actually just makes no sense. It's kind of just completely closed off the canvas, so I'm just going to get rid of it. The way you framed is also a little bit off. You're a little bit off. Yeah, my haters and my imagination are really creative with their discs. I'm just going to bring in those little blooms here and there. As for like what you've done with this really, really basic shape of the tree, you could be trying something a little bit more like that. I'm not really sure how to guide you along the frame because I don't know the story. I don't know if he's walking out of the forest. I don't know if he's going into the forest. He looks like he's going in. If I was going to be drawing a big giant guy walking into a forest, I'd have made him, like, camera really low. That just makes him look more colossal. That's why we plan our illustrations before we try them. And then I'm just going to burn him for those final last minute touches. Okay. I'm actually going to dim this far half and make the light kind of moving in from the side so we can explain why we have half his face in light. I would actually just enlarge him just so that you don't have to worry too much about illustrating the environment. And now I'm just finding some rim light more along his knuckles, more across the bark and the patterns therein. You're a bark with pattern therein. Okay, that sucked. I mean, all my jokes have been sucking today, but that was really, really bad. And then there is the ambient. So the ambient light is like a light on top of the you can use it as a light on top of the camera. You can pretend the camera that's taking a picture of him has a little bit of light shining out of it so that you can use it to, like, for instance, illuminate his belly and his torso and cast some nice core shadows. Remember those? So we can start looking a little bit more structured. I really, really, really like how you made the body look old. Like, he actually looks like he was muscular when he was younger, but now he's just, you know, getting old. I really like how you maturely kind of widened his torso. Older men kind of just get a bigger torso as they get older. Really, really like that. I barely see that a lot of the times. People draw older, muscular characters, big Vikings, and they just kind of give him this really young silhouette in the body type, but you kind of just did that really well. And so this universal, it can be any of the highlights here. I'm going to actually work on the face in a second as well. Same thing. I'm just going to try to make it feel like, actually zoom out and just color correct towards blue a little bit. See how his shield turns purple? The shield should be turning blue. That's because the starting colors are really, like, you have none of your colors matching. That's why I would bring this all the way down to grayscale and continue working on it if I were you. Just so that you can get a better idea of where all your values are coming from. Because the values are good, as you can see. It was your colors that were just completely off. So because moving into grayscale forces you later to use one color wash that is like a monotone color wash, not monotone, monochromatic, sorry, color wash, you get a better chance of choosing good colors that are actually matching each other. And so every single one of these little pieces of hair is a cylinder. And that's just how you know. So why is it I can paint zoomed out? Because I'm not painting the guy. I'm painting the shape moment by moment. If I think about the guy, I'm going to start seeing symbolic representations of hair, and then I'm just going to throw in gradients everywhere, because gradients are your safety net. Don't paint with gradients, paint with core shadows. Core shadows are visible when you know what your values are, know what your geometries are. Okay, so still not happy at all with the color. See how everything is a different color. When you saturate, it kind of reveals where everything is. Okay, so I would probably leave him like this and adjust the background to be more monochromatic. So I'm going to desaturate the background, because he also seems a little mystical, like a really friendly Bjorn or something like that. No, that didn't work. It's just there are corrections, I just don't have time to do them. It's already 6. You know what? Fuck it. Color. And just try to do something more like this. Yeah, it's the way you frame the trees on either side. I'd have to rearrange a lot of stuff, but let's just stop that right now. Okay, so where's my histogram? Actually, it's not my histogram. Yes, it is. So I'm gonna just color correct the shield, because it's really driving me nuts. Straight up purple. If it's stone, if it's a colorless gray stone, it's just going to take the color of the light environment. And then I'm going to get the yellow. And just throw in some of that warmth. Is it color or soft light that can pull that off? I'm going to try it with soft light and then desaturate. So now you ask the question, now that we've completely made it monochromatic, now you ask the question, what is the color per area? What, is he more green than his whatever this is? Is he more, does he have a red beard? If it's a red, you have to consider what red does in a green wash. If the wash is going to be blue, you're just going to have to ask the question, what is the wash for each one? If it's autumn or sunset time, then you would go for a wash like this, and you can step up out of it. If it's more demon-like or evil or something, that's the color I would use for that. If it's more a blissful scene, I would probably go for something like this if he's just magical. If it's something a little bit more dark and eerie, I would go for colors like this. So remember, the colors are representation of the atmosphere, which is the narrative. So you have to make your decisions there. But if these are not in your interest and you just want to finish rendering the character, you need to figure out how you're going to render them before you even add a color. Okay, because your colors were way off. Your values weren't really present. Okay, so I'm gonna grayscale, because I can't write the story for you, but I hope I showed you where you should be. So before, after. A complete illustration. We have more of a room that he's traveling in. He's going into the dark of the forest. Here, there's just light coming out of everything. Feels really flat, stale. And this feels more open. If, like I said, you want more bounce light coming out of the camera, you can bring in all kinds of light, fake lights that we cheat with to reveal him. The background doesn't have to be that white either. This is just because I was struggling with the color. The background can be more like this. But you still need a solid light source direction. You still need to ask yourself what the light environment is. Okay? And if all the light is coming in from one angle, you're going to have a dark scene. Just like if it's nearly nighttime, the sun is setting, you're walking against against the sun, away from the sun, the camera's facing the sun, you're already decided what this light environment can do. You've already decided on its limits. So if you want to drown him in some light, you can have like completely white washes here and there, and that would be like the rim light of a really strong ray shooting in, and that could catch. I'm just going to use a hard round brush for that. I'm getting pure white here. That could be on this side of his shield, on some of his hairs, on his crown. Just moments of white on his obliques, on, just moments. It's not everything gets rim light. Okay? And then, yep, just bring in your camera light to reveal some of the stuff that is just too difficult to see, but should also not be that visible. So the pecs getting some light. The sides here, the stomach area, the belly button, the robe, the loincloth, the thigh, and then down, and the entire shield, the shoulder, some of the hair body, the nose bridge. Okay? You're not actually illustrating, you're just adding value and not questioning the light source or the direction of the light source. And if you do bring in rim light, you've kind of just shifted where the sun is coming from entirely. Kind of just made it more from the side. That's why the obliques get this illumination. So now it's a little bit more easy to work with, and you may even be able to use more colors this way. That's as much as I can fix for now, and then I really, really, really would rethink the position of those trees, because it's just really boring. They're just there doing nothing, occupying the edge of the canvas like a fourth grader play painted background painting that we used to do. I used to always do this. I was always in charge of painting the backgrounds for plays, and I always put a tree on one side of the canvas and put a tree on the other, and I was like, I'm done. Give me my extra credit. Okay, don't do what I did. Don't put trees on the either side of the canvas. The trees can go other places too. Alright, flatten the image. Any questions at all? I like it in black and white. Yeah, that's why I paint in black and white. It really helps you see, ask the right questions. Too easy do you think that you're done with your illustration because, well, the colors are really pretty and they're sparkling. You're not. Your audience isn't a bunch of clowns. It's mature artists that also appreciate when you capture the right core shadow. They also want to be guided in the right way and entertained in the right way. So if you're entertaining people who think color is the best thing about a painting, you need to choose a different audience, because our audience shapes us. And if you're trying to entertain with your art, you're never going to learn. You're not going to learn the fundamentals. You're not going to take fundamentals seriously. Okay. Any questions at all? Any questions? So class is done. Thank you everyone for joining today. I really appreciate those who join in on the live sessions. You guys don't understand, like I do this because of you present live. I really wouldn't be continuing these on the weekly meets if they were offline. It's just so much more boring, less interactive. Having a presence, a live presence in my sessions really makes it feel more like a community that we're actually speaking together, and then we have mods who are helping and answering questions. So thank you so much, my mods. So to remind you guys, please read through the briefs for the Google community. If you want to join the challenges, Istebrak.com, Google Plus icon. Join, read the rules. I have new mods, and they just can't wait to ban you. So please read the rules and make sure that you are not breaking them. If you work with reference, upload your reference. If you're uploading sketches, don't upload sketch by sketch. A minimum of 3 sketches together. A sketch is anything that has not been completed in rendering. Doesn't have to be a complete rendering either. No photo referencing, no K-pop, no J-pop, no magazine covers, no anime, nothing essentially cringy. Not that anime is a bad thing, but if that's all you're drawing and, you're trying to learn realism, you're going to have a hard time deciding what's real and what's not if your backdrop is flat lines all the time, anytime. Really, really general, very, very friendly rules that are there to promote your education and sharpen it. It's not just a community about sharing your art and getting positive feedback all the time. You're always getting criticism of some kind, and if you can't take it, and a lot of my audience is just a reflection of me. A lot of the students in this community are a reflection of me. All they care about is the honest truth, and that's it. They're not there to compliment you or give you a pat on the back. They probably will anyway because they're nice. But be prepared for critique for your art so you can improve. Okay, thank you for the great class, Istebrak, and everyone for being such a great, helpful, good art community. Thank you, Annie. You're so sweet. And yeah, if anyone is interested in owning Portrait Studio, you can go to the store. The sale will be this weekend, Sunday night, from the 1st to the 14th. And Portrait Studio will be on sale almost 50% off. You really support me when you get it. You support the community. And if you want to support on a regular monthly basis and get an educational equivalent of my private tutoring, you can always join as an apprentice on Patreon. We will have our Critique Hour meet on the 2nd. And that will be for their character concept designs. They all were working on these really, really amazing characters. I might extend the deadline for this to be somewhere mid-October so they have time. And then just give them a smaller assignment because they were working on character designs, which is going to be really, really fun. Fully illustrated character design book covers. We're going to be talking about font. We're going to be talking about a lot of composition stuff, leading the eye, colors, and just telling less with the story, or feeding less of the story, but still making the book cover enticing. And that's it for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I will see you guys on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Bye, everyone.